Welcome for our first edition this year of Boardman Outlook. I'm Trustee Tom Costello with Brad Calhoun and Larry Moliterno. It's good to be back. Well, it's been a very active summer, and I think we've gotten a lot accomplished this summer.
Well, one of the biggest things people probably noticed over the last couple days is the paving in Boardman.
We've our normal paving program kicked off right after Labor Day, and they moved right along with it. We do that in conjunction with Austintown and Canfield so that we can get more roads paved for the amount of money we have available.
Well, and we've talked about this a lot, but the cost of paving streets has gone up triple just in the last 10 years. And so it becomes a little bit more difficult for us to get the roads paved at maybe the pace we would like to, but we're trying to be a little bit more strategic about how we do it to make sure we can maintain the roads the best we can with the limited amount of funds that we have to do it.
Speaking of the funds, I mean, one of the nice things is Tom sits on the committee that helps decides a lot of grant money for us, and we got $145,000 in grants this year for our paving program.
I've been fortunate. I've sat the last several years on the Ohio Public Works Commission from Mahoning and Trumbull County, which I think Boardman has benefited some from.
And I think what we're going to try to do also is put together a 2 or 3 year plan for the roads that we plan on paving, so at least folks can get a sense of, from maybe my road's not being done this year, I know that at least in the near future it's going to be able to get done. And I know that our road department works tirelessly to make sure that we are, again, strategic and really trying to understand which roads need paved the most and put them in sort of a priority listing.
Well, one of the other things you might notice is there's a lot of what they call box patching, and people they think we just paved their road, but we just did a little strip of it. But what we found is it's better for us than to keep patching individual holes that will just really break up after the first good freeze. But what she's done is box patching, 10, 15, sometimes right down the center strip of the entire road. It doesn't necessarily look the best, but I find that once that black pavement kind of mixes in with it, right, you won't even notice it after 3-4 months.
Yeah, it seems to just match right, and the neighbors seem to be very happy. The roads are smooth again. So the next thing that's happening in our road department is it's that time. It's leaf pickup.
Yeah, and this is something that, quite frankly, we used to get not a lot of funding, but enough funding to cover all of our costs to do leaf pickup. And again, another one of those items where we've continued to lose that funding, but we have tried to maintain this service to the community because people really expect it.
Yeah, and it just starts up October 23rd, and you just have to bring out the any type of paper bags. You put them out there at the curb. You can't blow them out there and leave them. We don't have a vacuum that picks them up like that, but you can just leave the bags out there on the same nights that typically your trash. But if you want to be sure, we have on our Facebook page, if you go to the township Facebook page and go into the road, you can find what day your street is going to be picked up.
Yeah, and those will get picked up all the way through November 17th,
right,
which is the same number of weeks that we've done the past couple of years. So, and if you are in the mood and you have the ability, they can be taken out to the compost site at Elliott's out on Garden Center out on Western Reserve Road.
That's been a great arrangement that we've made with Elliott's. Very reasonable. They work with us a lot, and it's real convenient for the residents.
Well, that's been a huge cost savings too for the township. I mean, prior to probably about 7-8 years ago, they were spending upwards of $50,000 to run our own compost site over at the off of Southern Boulevard. And then so what we did was we made an arrangement with Elliott's for at the time we spent $5,000 and they took it all, and then they repurposed it, and I believe we now have an increase. I think we're at $10,000 just because of the amount of stuff that the township has been dropping off there.
Yeah, the volumes have continued to increase, and that's a good thing.
Right.
So talk about being busy. This summer we were quite busy in the police department, weren't we?
Well, we all know that our police chief, Jack Nichols, is retiring at the end of the year. And I think you'll be hearing us talk a lot more about Chief Nichols over the next few months, because he really deserves all the attention he's getting. He did a great job for the Boardman Township Police Department. Came in at a time of sort of instability, and he was a stabilizing force, and he's done a wonderful job. But knowing that he was going to leave, we started the process early to hire a new police chief because we didn't want to kind of wait till the end. And we'll talk a little bit about that process, but I have to say the thing that impressed me the most was how many qualified, wonderful applicants wanted to be the police chief in Boardman Township because they saw this as a great place to come work.
I have note after note of the things that all these applicants have told us. Things that they would like to see Boardman move into a different direction or upgrades technology. And Jack, being probably, I think, the longest serving Boardman police officer, he'll have served 40 years when he retires. He'll self-admit that technology wasn't his thing, but and he knows that we need to take that direction because he's been all over us telling us there are things that we can do, but we'll let the new chief bring those in. But I have all kinds of notes of great ideas that the candidates all provided.
I was just saying, the great thing about, you mentioned Chief Nichols and not necessarily being real tech savvy. However, ironically, he was the one who was the driving force in bringing together the dispatch system for the entire county. And I think that was due not necessarily because of his technical skills, but the fact that his relationships and how people knew Jack and how they trusted him and how they saw him sort of a leader in the community to bring these different police departments together.
He is so trusted throughout the entire county that when he came to us with the idea, we got together with Austintown, it just made perfect sense and everybody bought into the idea. Now the county's a part of it and it's just taking off.
I mean, if anybody not sure really what we're talking about, the 911 dispatch, Boardman, Austintown dispatch for nearly the entire county, whereas in the past, the sheriff's office used to do it. And then Sheriff Green joined with us and our COG, Council of Governments. And there are a few little dispatch centers still kind of remaining out there that some communities have decided that they want to hold on to. But in all reality, I really believe that when they start seeing the cost savings that Boardman, Austintown, and Mahoney County are going to start receiving soon, I believe you're going to see all these communities jump in and say, we can do it cheaper by joining with Boardman, Austintown, in the county.
And the great thing is, not only is it cheaper, it's more efficient,
right.
And I think it's going to be a better service for the residents. I think they're going to get quicker response times.
Yeah, absolutely. We've talked about our retiring chief, and I'll just mention our new chief is Mr. Todd Worth, who is coming to us from the FBI, and he will be shadowing Jack for basically October, November, and December, so that when he takes over the department in January, he's very comfortable in the position he's in. I'm sure in our next couple of shows, we'll be spending some more time with both Chief Nichols and future Chief Todd Worth.
I mean, the nice thing about Todd Worth is that he's lived in Boardman for 20 years. He knows, all the players. Mm-hmm. He knows the community. And when you talk about shadowing, I mean, he's doing all that on his own time.
Right.
He's using vacation and personal time, and then when he's officially retired from the FBI, he's just coming to work for us for 3 months with no cost to the township because he wants to be ready to go come January 1st.
Right.
And I think we all look forward to Todd being out in the community, so everyone have a chance to meet him. And again, Todd is somebody, not only he has a number of years in the military, a number of years with the FBI, he works very close with pretty much every police department in the Tri-County area. He knows a lot of our guys, and I think it was a great process where we brought a lot of chiefs in or applicants in from not only within our department but from outside in the community, and we had some great applicants. And the great thing about this too is for as many great candidates as we had, at the end of the day, it was an absolute unanimous decision by the three of us, and also Bill Light, our fiscal officer, that Todd Worth was the guy to be our next chief.
Yeah, it worked out well. And we've got some other turnover due to retirements within our police department. One of our two longtime captains, Don Hawkins, has recently retired and has been replaced by Albert Kakasik. And Albert's a 27-year veteran of the police department in Boardman.
Well, anytime you lose, I mean, we're losing a chief, and we're going to probably lose the next two levels. I would imagine that, there's some concern from anybody having to fill any of these shoes of people that have served in Boardman for such a long time. But right. What's nice is that the leadership that's leaving, I think they have, sat down and prepared the new leadership coming in.
And our police department, we're at such a place right now where we have this wonderful combination of experienced folks and great new police officers coming in. The guys that we've hired within the last few years, and I think there's some great talent there, and I think we have a nice mix. I'm really proud of where we're at with our police department.
Yeah, it's really developing well, and I just will mention, all of these guys are coming to us with educations. Mr. Kasich actually has his master's in criminal justice, so it's really a good fit for
And we
us.
just, when you speak of the new and the young, we just hired a new officer last night, Officer Ritz. Actually, I think he's starting today.
Yes.
We hired him last night, and they got him working today. And so he'll go through a quite lengthy training process before he's kind of released to the road by himself.
Great. And he's currently a police officer in McDonald, Ohio, so he's got experience once again. How can we sit here and talk without mentioning, have you seen our new fire station coming up? What a beautiful addition that is to our community, and a perfect location.
It is, and I think we've done a good job of balancing wanting to have a building that we were proud of, wanting to have a building that was obviously effective for the department, but also trying to be as efficient as we can with how we spent the money to build it. And it started with the land swap with the school system. We've gone through in the original price that came in from the architects. We've worked really hard to try, how do we trim some costs here, trim some costs there. And I think at the end of the day, we're going to have something that everyone's very proud of.
Well, I think the fact that the school board needed something that we had some property in a building for a bus garage, and we needed to be in that 224 Market Street corridor.
Right.
About 40% of our calls come out of that station, and that's a critical area. Plus, what we've done, it's a very short move, but what we've done is shorten our response time to the southern end of Boardman. And that's very important to the chief and the crew out there. We're always concerned, should we put another fire station out there? Mm-hmm. So, this was the happy compromise is that we were able to get a little closer, but I can't say enough about working with the school board and our relationship with the school board and how we were able to come to that agreement and that deal.
Yeah, well, as they say, it's a community, and that's, we all worked together, we all sat down together. I remember one Saturday morning, sitting down with everybody and working through the details to get this accomplished.
Right.
So, and we're getting some additional, they're called SCBA, self-contained breathing apparatuses, through a grant for our firefighters. Those have a life expectancy of, I believe it's about 8 or 9 years. We have several of them that are at that point, and our chief went out and found grant money in working collaboratively with several other local fire departments to find those dollars.
Again, I think that's been part of our strategy since we've been together, is how do we, regional cooperation, how do we work with our neighboring communities to try to make what we do more efficient and more effective, and I think it's been very productive, and I think now other communities look to Boardman for ways to partner.
Well, we have a great team in place. Our department heads, they're the ones that start these. We give a lot of support, we give a lot of guidance, but really the majority of the work is done by our staff, our department heads, and since at least our team has been together, we're over $1 million in grants.
Yeah. Yeah, it's worked out well, and Larry, you're so right. The way we work together with our other communities and putting together a grant of this nature, it's something I think everybody else in the community is looking at and saying, how can we work with Boardman on something? So, also we had our annual softball game on September 11th between our police department and fire department. It's a fun event. They raised money this year for muscular dystrophy, and our own state senator, Joe Schiavone, was there to throw out the first pitch.
They started doing this a few years ago, and it's really been an event that I think everyone looks forward to. Police and fire, they don't often have an opportunity to kind of get together in a way that they can have some fun, they can get to know each other a little bit better, and I think it just shows the community how we're working well together.
Right, and the marching band comes out, and the BW3s came out, and they raised a lot of money. They brought a lot of people and a lot of support, but this event has certainly grown each and every year, and the police finally got on the victory board. They were down three years to the firefighters, and there was some concern that the firemen, they swore in a new fireman or fire lady.
Yes.
And she was quite the softball player, and they swore her in right before the game, and so there was some concern. So I think the police took it serious that they were out recruiting.
It was a hard-fought game. It was a 12-11 final score.
It was fun.
It was a good game. So, also in zoning, we've added to our staff with adding Tricia DeAvion as the Assistant Director of Zoning and Development. And she comes to us with a great background.
I have to say, again, I think it's very exciting for us that over the last few years, we've taken zoning, and zoning just isn't a punitive enforcement. Yes, we have to do that, but really there's a whole lot more energy now being put into redevelopment. And what is the future of Boardman going to look like? And I think that these two make a great team.
Yeah, what I've noticed most about the zoning department is the planning part of it. High grass, that's every year, which is finally slowing down.
Yep.
But really what they're doing is they're trying to look at taking some areas of Boardman that are, I guess they're the oldest portions. Mature, is that the word we use? And trying to make sure that the houses are taken down. We've taken down probably a good 25, 30 houses in the last few years that just make that neighborhood look bad.
And just last night, there was a few houses that had been demolished that other folks want to buy to build new onto that property, and that's exactly what we're trying to do.
Right, we sold one for a new property, and we sold one that someone was going to just replat and have a larger
Side yard.
Right.
Yeah, want to do a garden. So there's a lot of good things going on right now, and in the future shows, like I said, I'm sure that we're going to honor Chief Nichols for his 40 years to Boardman Township and introduce you to our new upcoming Chief, Todd Worth. On behalf of Boardman Outlook, Boardman Township, Brad Calhoun, Larry Moliterno, Tom Costello, have a great day.